Hi, I'm Bryan Konietzko, co-creator of Avatar and art director.
I'm Joaquim Dos Santos, director on this episode of Avatar.
And I'm Mattila. I wrote this episode, The Beach.
So this is the 5th chapter of Season 3, where the characters are in the Fire Nation. And back when we went on our writing retreat for Season 3, we were sketching, just joking around during the meetings, and I did a drawing of May and Tylee and Azula all in kind of contemporary bathing suits, just having a little party at the beach. And either that or I don't know, some other ideas came together, and Aaron Ehas, the head writer, thought, this would be a good time to, since it's the summer and Fire Nation is a kind of a tropical location, or near the equator, have a beach episode where we actually focus on our so-called bad guys and let them be the lead characters, and then have our main characters be the B plot. So Katie, this was your first full script. You previously wrote on 215 Tales of Bossing Say. How was it writing a whole episode?
It was great. I felt really comfortable, and especially with the story, I thought it was interesting. I think we can all relate to stories of being teenagers and going to the beach and how awkward we were at moments. And I don't know, my favorite part was seeing Zuko and Azula at the beach, because clearly they were not very comfortable there.
Joaquim, you grew up in Southern California. Some of us didn't really grow up near the beach. Was this familiar to you in any ways?
Yeah, I think both me and Ian Graham kind of had a little bit of familiarity with the beach setting. Not so much the OC elements here when we see the beachfront property, because we were definitely Valley kids. Mm-hmm. But Ian definitely added in some sweet bits with the wakeboarding or whatever it is the kid's doing in the.
So Ian Grahams was another storyboard artist on this episode.
Hey.
And I'd like to mention it's Joaquim's birthday today.
Oh.
Happy birthday!
Thank you so much.
Birthday.
Yeah, it was fun to put them in these kind of domestic situations. Lo and Lee are usually known as these creepy, ominous mentor characters, and then now we're just seeing them as kind of a funny little odd couple of old ladies who live in a tacky shack.
But that scene was still pretty creepy.
A new kind of creepy, a new
That's
level.
Right.
I love this room. It really reminds me of Miyazaki stuff, Spirited Away, the witch's office.
Sure.
Just crazy patterns on everything.
Tchotchkes everywhere.
Yeah. Elsa Garza, the background supervisor, found all of these cool patterns from Thai design and stuff. That's very scary.
And creepy as well.
So this, all of Season 3 really, but this episode in particular, uses a lot of photos I took from Iceland as reference for the locations. Iceland, even though it's so far north, it's actually a volcanic island. So I went and took tons of photos and plugged a lot of them directly into Season 3, so that we really wanted to make the Fire Nation look different than everything else we've seen in Avatar. And this location where Aang and his friends are sort of camping and swimming is this place called Viti, which was really hard to get to, and once you get there, it's a volcanic vent that you can swim in, and it's sulfuric and smells awful, but the water's warm because of the volcanic activity below it, and it's crazy. So it was really neat. This is a place I've been, and we plugged it right into the show, and it looks really cool.
What was nice too was just on a production level was that we had a lot of really good reference as storyboard artists, since we're so kind of early in the production line. We had a lot of good reference to stage some scenes that.
Yeah, you just get these crazy land masses and geological formations that, I don't know, being from where I'm from in the United States, I'd never really seen them, at least not in person. So it was really inspiring and helped. Yeah, I had one of those boring slideshow presentations of vacation photos for the crew, and just
they were beautiful pictures. It was amazing.
Thank you. just like, you know, just like give them an idea of what it was like there.
I think it's really interesting that, you know, you think about teenagers relaxing and going to a beach, and even in that kind of setting, Azula's still trying to control everything and just so uptight. And I think it's interesting seeing like her behavior compared to Tylee, where she's just sort of your typical teenager.
Well, she's even conquering the sandcastle for these little kids. It's awesome.
It's great to see. You know, we've pretty much so far seen Azula as this, you know, evil elf. You know, she's evil, but pretty much perfect. You know, you never really see any weaknesses. But here you see that her, like, crazy, over-the-top, manipulative personality doesn't really work well in social situations.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it was really delightful to see that.
Mm-hmm. This is our big John Woo
tribute
dove shot. Yeah.
So, in case you're wondering why the beach looks so dirty, the idea is that this is volcanic sand. So it's actually like dark gray, almost black. Again, Iceland is actually mostly desert, and it's really cool. I drove around and hiked around all of these black deserts, and then there'd be patches of like red sand. Really, really cool. So this, after the fact, we found out this is a real game.
Right. This is volleyball with your feet.
Sung-hyun is the supervising director on Avatar. He's from Korea. And he was in all the meetings where we were like, yeah, let's do a volleyball game where you use your feet. It'll kind of be like Kung Fu inspired. And he was, you know, just never really mentioned anything. And then after that, I had a business trip to Korea, and I saw on TV they were playing this game. And, you know, we could have referenced
Which
it.
would have been very nice to have.
Yeah, exactly. So I came back. I was like, Sung-hyun, why didn't you tell me about that game? Oh, yeah. It's pretty popular in Korea.
Well, it's probably so commonplace that he just, you know.
Yeah, I guess, well, the cool thing was he thinks it came from Thailand, which is a lot of the architecture we referenced for this episode. So, another happy accident.
Totally.
So here we have some teen angst brewing, a little jealousy. I'm really happy with the color in this sequence. Sort of, I think sometimes they call it magic hour in live action. It's where it just, I don't know, maybe right after sunset, before dusk, you have just this kind of glowing.
Yeah, there's like a really nice level of diffusion kind of throughout that just kind of really brings good atmosphere to all these scenes.
It works well with Lo and Lee's little spiritual mumbo jumbo.
That little clap was actually made up by Aaron and spontaneously in the writer's room. That's cute.
Look at this creepy vulture thing that Jae-woo Kim designed. I said, you know, I just said, it's got to be scarier than the little dragon hawk thing. And he showed me these drawings. I was like, oh, totally frightening.
And strangely enough, I don't know, I'd actually boarded this sequence here with the birds, and it's somehow tough to stage action with animals. I don't know why. If that were jet planes, that would have been fine. But having it be animals, I was like, oh boy.
So again, we see Azula's. Normally, these are the things that would benefit her out in the field. You know, ambushing someone or always having the jump on somebody. But now it's like just socially awkward that she's at this party so early.
Mm-hmm. Where people say it starts at a certain time, but it's cooler just to show up later when you're a teenager.
It was really fun. All these, like their party outfits that Jae-woo Kim designed. It was kind of fun. He did a lot of reference, again, with like Thai, traditional costumes.
Yeah, there's a ton of costume changes in this episode.
Oh man, it was intense. Even all the background teenagers who were at the beach then all have costume changes for the party.
Right.
It was crazy.
There Azula fails again.
Absolutely.
So that, the little hair gesturing that Ron John's doing there, I'm not even going to mention who it is. It's a good friend of mine. And the Combustion Man was designed after him, but then Aaron thought he should have a shaved head, so I just took the hair off of Combustion Man and put it on Ron John.
It also adds to the kind of teen awkward. He's trying to look good before everybody gets there.
He's like playing it cool, like he doesn't care, but he's totally fixated on his hair.
Right.
This is my favorite line in the episode right here.
Yeah.
Which one of us do you like?
Great read. So
at this point, Tylee's made too many friends at the beach.
but luckily, she's like a self-defense class all in one. She can take care of herself.
Come on, Tylee. You can't be this ignorant. What are you talking about? Those boys only like you because you make it so easy.
I love this. Oh, go ahead.
That was pretty brutal.
It's a cartoon. I love this. This like
Okay, calm down.
party music that Jeremy Zuckerman wrote. It's like
Because I was a little...
there. This is like what the Fire Nation teenagers rock out to at a party.
Yeah, this is their cool music.
Yeah, it's like some cool folk music.
Perfect girl in the world.
We figured the band is actually in the basement, just piped up with some. Like,
Maybe it's the Flamey-O's.
it's the Flamey O's.
Yeah.
They're rocking it.
But you probably would do something horrible to them.
Word spread all over the internet after that cave
That's right.
party.
You want to avoid
The cave party.
smile?
Apparently, these kids are still afraid to dance.
Yeah. Well, it also might have killed some animators in Korea.
Let's try it. Okay.
So Tylee is giving us a little advice here.
How do you like this party?
That is very reminiscent of a good friend of mine, Angus McLean, who's a great animator at Pixar. But like, hey, how's it going? He and I were roommates in college.
I'm ready for a tour of the house.
I'm not sure if that influenced my supervision of that scene. I love you, Angus. Don't take it personally.
It's a great place, if you like sand. Yeah, it's like, welcome to Sandyland.
Your arms look so...
This is great.
Yeah. This all,
And then he moves right in.
yeah.
Killer.
This always happened to me growing up. Strong arms, Just I like this detail that even the fire behind Azula turns blue. Okay, this is some Kenji Ono. Brilliant.
Craziness.
Yeah, it's just from the land of Kenji.
This is great. Squeaks off.
On the storyboard, he drew a little diagram that Chan was just like a cutout with like a 2x4,
And
moving him out of the scene.
Exactly.
They animated it just like that. But yeah, we were just dumbfounded in the storyboard meeting when Kenji put up just this little like cartoon crow flying behind him.
And the great thing is about Kenji is when we say, "What is that?" He looks at us like we're crazy.
Yeah,
Like, what? I mean, that's just what happens.
Exactly.
Zuko, what is wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Your temper's out of control.
I'm surprised that Zuko and Ronjon didn't fight about whose hair was cooler.
I
That's
know.
right.
This was the longest Zuko's hair got actually in season 3, and Mike pulled me aside and said, "It's getting a little crazy. It's getting a little long." So Angie Mueller and I, the other character designer, had to give him a little trim.
That's it. You're out of here. I was just leaving.
You got the baseball boot right there.
Nice.
That was added, right?
Yeah.
That was added a little later. That was funny.
So this opening sequence of Act 3 is one of my favorites in Avatar. Not just because I storyboarded it, honest, but this is some of I think the best music Jeremy's written, and I just love I love the sophisticated storytelling of for a kids show, but no dialogue, just a character by himself with his memories, wandering through this childhood summer home, and just with the sound design that Ben did, and the music Jeremy did, and the color, and the design, it's
beautiful.
just
But which, honestly, to me, when I first saw Avatar, was one of the things that really attracted me to wanting to come and work on the show, was the fact that you guys were telling stories that didn't undermine, kids' sort of understanding of
yeah. There's,
cartoons and animation.
And
what can be done.
I think it's so touching, just these scenes, and something that everyone can relate to about looking at old pictures, and he's sort of reminiscing about the past and his family and happier times at the beach, and you realize how difficult it is for him to return to the house.
Yeah, you're really sympathetic with Zuko.
I think it's really not fun, but like satisfying to give these characters time to work through these things. Just like life, it's difficult to work through, you know, in his case, some pretty intense stuff. So like,
and then intercut with this.
Yeah. So I also storyboarded all this Combustion Man stuff, and Combustion Man also came out of the writing retreat that we took before season 3, and just this idea of this kind of unstoppable villain. He's more like a force of nature. You know, he doesn't really talk, and
how tall is he?
He's about 7'2".
Wow.
And this sequence, Jeremy wrote some amazing music for it, but in the mix, it just turned out to be more intense if we took the music out, and it just seemed scarier. The music was great, but it was kind of competing with the sound. So Mike DiMartino, the other co-creator, and Sunghyun, the supervising director, storyboarded all this emotional teenage beach stuff, very reminiscent of various 80s movies that we all grew up with.
Right. And
since we're old, as signified by Joaquim's birthday today.
30. Which from... Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go.
I was just going to say, I think I agree with Lo and Lee, too. I think there's something magical about the beach, especially at nighttime. It's peaceful, the waves.
Yeah, there's something really cool about going down to the beach at night when you can still hear the waves, but you can barely see them. I love that.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff actually reminded me of during the summer when I was a kid. I'd go back to Portugal and visit my family there, and we lived right on the beach. So at night you could hear, the waves crashing, and it adds a certain level of kind of magic to the air.
It's very calming, the stars in the sky.
So this was fun. This was a little bit different for us for an action scene. It's more of like a kind of a scary movie chase scene.
Totally. This is like the...
So the idea with Combustion Man is that he's still a firebender, but he has a overdeveloped third eye where basically his chi is released through his third eye, and if he can see something within range, he can blow it up in about a second. So he's fun. But my idea was that he got his reputation through a lot of very successful Agni Kai matches that did not last very long. So this is fun. Aang using the rock suit technique that he learned from Toph.
I'm okay. Well, that was random. I don't think so. I get the feeling he knows who we are.
So that location also, it wasn't right next to Vidi in Iceland, but it was also based on I can't pronounce it, but there's a lake in Iceland where all of this lava had made a lake. It was basically a lake of molten lava, and then the top of it crusted over, and eventually the lake, like the thing damming the lake, just busted and all the lava poured out. But these pillars had formed that held up the ceiling, this crust ceiling, and then once all the lava drained out from underneath, the top of it, this crust fell, and you just have this field of pillars, these lava pillars. It's just this weird formation. So I just thought, oh man, what a creepy place. It's kind of like a maze, like a topiary maze or something. Just everything looks the same, sneaking around. So here we're getting some backstory on our villains, and a little empathy for them.
And this is a lot more writing than I think we're even used to here on Avatar, as far as just sheer paragraphs that were taking up the page. Which initially, as an animation director, I was nervous about. I was like, oh boy, there's a lot of dialogue, but it plays incredibly
We've
well.
cut it down quite a bit as well.
But I think it's a testament to your awesome writing and Sung-hyun's awesome staging of this scene, and Mike DiMartino's as well.
I think it's a great scene. Also, Brian, you were saying it's interesting that with our characters, it kind of takes time to get to know them, and here they are, they kind of see each other only from the outside. I think all kids can kind of relate to that in school. Like, you may see someone as the popular, happy-go-lucky girl, but then you find out, there's a history, and we don't know what happened in their past. And I think it's interesting. Finally, we find out, why each of these characters are the way they are.
Yeah, even with friends.
Absolutely.
And everything. Yeah, and it's like, wow, whereas someone might have, on paper, a history that seems more dramatic or more intense, you kind of realize that everybody's got something they're carrying, and to that person, it's equally serious and important.
Leave me alone!
This music kind of carries over from the beginning of the act.
Touch me!
Really, I love it. Just so emotional and understated. It's really pretty.
Whatever. That doesn't excuse the way you've been acting.
And that's a great line from May. It's like she knows, she knows. She's knows Zuko her whole life. She knows his life's been intense, but that's a good line that it doesn't excuse the way you've been acting. At a certain point, everyone has to take responsibility for the choices they're making and rise above the things that happen to them. And, that's, everybody's dealt a different deck of cards, but that's ultimately the challenge. Can you rise above your situation and kind of solidify your own identity, or does the situation become your identity? Another great question.
Your uncle? No.
I love it. Mike storyboarded this stuff.
Yeah.
These crazy psychological cuts. I love this.
It totally gets frantic. Yeah, he captured that.
I love those jump cuts.
That part's great.
And I think it's a worthwhile episode because normally, in a series, you just have your villains. Oh, they're bad. You might get a little backstory on them, but the messy thing about life is there's some reason why they're acting out or why they're so-called bad or evil, and not just because they're coming from a country that's trying to take over the world, but they each have their own personal
Demons.
stories. And then Azula's,
This is
see
great.
a little moment where it seems like she doesn't really care, and then all of a sudden she seems so cold even when she's expressing herself.
And then she says that. She was right, of course.
Azula is just so comfortable in her skin. I love that line. Smoothed. And then this is a tribute to another 80s movie. For me, it's very much Weird Science.
Yes.
Motorcycle gang is riding around the party.
Yeah, the guy from Hills Have Eyes shows up.
That one definitely we got a cringe from the controller.
Suddenly Chan's a little more worried about not as worried about the bass.
Great script, Katie.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Great job directing.
Absolutely.
Joaquim.
Storyboards.
Your second Avatar episode, helming.
Happy birthday.
Well, we were all. Thank you. I think I felt very lucky to get an awesome script, and
It's a good one. You had the 80s dance party episode, and then
That's
you had
right.
the 80s emotional teen angst episode.
we had a whole '80s thing. And then,
Yeah, I thought it was a fun one because it had such dynamics. The really crazy action, tense stuff, and then the really emotional.
well, yeah, all that stuff intercut with each other too. It just plays incredibly
Yeah,
well.
good contrast. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.